let's get our acceleration here at the Wrangler. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2021 Jeep Wrangler Willys edition finished in Sarge Green. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Provo for giving me some time with this Willys edition. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Willys edition, we have a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 285 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque. Go over the front end. So you do get the little Willys logo right there, which is pretty cool, and then you've got those little rubber things so you can drop the windshield down onto them. And then this one does have the full LED lights, but notice that you've got the regular turn signal right next to the LED lights, which is pretty interesting. And then they've blacked out the front end again as part of this edition. And then notice coming down below, you've got the regular bumper with the fog lights on it. Nothing too crazy there, but you guys can see just how aggressive the tires are on this, because that's another part of this package, but we'll get into that in just a second. Other than that, there's the front end. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. This is also part of the Willys package. Absolutely love the blacked out design on the wheels. Definitely have like that off-roader type design for the wheels. And then you can see the tires are super aggressive, also ready for the off-road. Just look at that tread pattern, absolutely crazy. And then here's a look at the, well, what we can see of the front suspension, not much. And then you've got Jeep's signature little fender flare right there with the Jeep logo just down below. And then other than that, here is your full side view on the Willys edition. Let's pop into the back of this Wrangler. So first off, we've got a bunch of plastic packages, but that just has the floor mats in it. Nothing too crazy there. But you can see we've got some extra storage here, and then you've got all the little holding areas for all of the bolts and screws and everything that comes with the Wrangler. I love how they bring the paint into here if you do take off the top, so it still looks really cool with the top off of the Wrangler. And then you guys can see the rest of the roll cage just looks really neat here on the interior. But other than that, there's not much else. So window first, door second. So yeah, let's go over the rest of the rear. So we do have the spare tire mounted on the back in normal Wrangler fashion with the backup camera right there in the center portion. And then you got a little 4-wheel drive sticker as part of this package as well. Really important, adds like 20 horsepower. And then you've got a little light here at the bottom, then got the tow hook just down below with the license plate area. But yeah, other than that, there's the back. Now going over the door panel here in the front, you guys can see you've got soft touch where you can rest your arm, and then you've got little netting just down below with the door handle. And then here are the seats at the front. So full cloth seats here look really nice in terms of the look, and then they also feel really nice. They're pretty soft for cloth seats, but let's actually pop in. So stepping in, whoop, it's kind of interesting getting in here, but if I sit all the way up, got quite a bit of headroom actually, and then legroom, pretty decent as well. Got a couple vents right here, and then we do have some window controls right there with some cup holders. And I mean, other than that, like, enjoy the green accenting here because they bring the color into the interior. But that's all for the back. Now going over the door panel here at the front, again, you got the soft touch with the netting down below. You've got a little door handle with the mirror adjustments, and then you've got the door lock and unlock. And then here are the seats at the front. So same as the seats in the rear, you've got the cloth all over them. Really nice to the touch, just great cloth, manually adjustable. And then there is your pedal layout at the bottom. You've got your little light control just up above. Steering wheel adjustment right next to it, which is manual. And there's one more look before we pop in. Now here's the steering wheel in the Wrangler. So we've got soft touch leather around the entire steering wheel, and then coming here we've got the controls for the cruise control. On the other side you got the controls for the center stack, your voice command, phone controls, all that kind of stuff. Got a little stock there for the turn signal, and the windshield wiper stock is actually over here on the other side. But yeah, other than that, really nice design for the steering wheel. I absolutely love the Jeep steering wheels. They just look cool. Here's the gauge cluster. You've got the RPMs and the speed that are analog gauges, and then you do have that screen there in the center which shows you a couple different things. This is my favorite. This is kind of like the off-road status. But yeah, nothing too crazy. You guys have seen this a million times. It's in all of the newer Wranglers, but it's also in the Willys edition. Pretty cool. Now here's the infotainment system. If we pop it in reverse, got the backup camera. So Trajectory lines will turn with the steering wheel. Resolution is really good on this camera. No zoom in function or anything like that. As for the rest of the screen, it is a little bit on the smaller side, but response time is just as good as the bigger screens that are offered by Jeep. You do get heated seats and a heated steering wheel in this package. And then, wait for it, also dual zone climate, another nice little feature. But yeah, it's a good infotainment system. Response time's good. Just a little bit on the smaller side is my only complaint. Down below in this area, we've got our analog controls for the radio, your analog climate controls, your heated seats, heated steering wheel controls, all that kind of stuff. This actually turns off the screen, which is pretty cool. You've got your hill descent control, your stability control, your auto stop start, that's the mute. And then you've got all the window controls here in the center portion. And then you got this with the USBs, auxiliary, all that kind of stuff, 12 volt on the other side. And then this does come with the auxiliary switches if you do add like a light bar on or a winch or something like that that would need an auxiliary button. They're already built into the Willys edition. And then storage? I don't know what's happening there, but it's cool. Now when you put your hand down here, just make sure you grab the right thing. Anyways, we've got this shifter for the 8-speed automatic. It does have the manual shift function if you want to shift gear yourself. It has a Jeep there on the top, which is pretty neat. The driveline selects, you've got your 2-wheel high, your 4-wheel high, your neutral, and then your 4-wheel low. Pretty simple with that. You've got a brake just behind it, and then you got cup holders with the little key holder in that area. And then we do have the center console here, which you got storage at the top. Got some more storage and a USB, and you've got little cable thread throughs, and then you can see that they continued the green here onto this portion of the interior, which is pretty cool. We've got the circular vents, got the Jeep grab handle, and then we got the glove box as well. That's my favorite part. I like that there on the dash. It's finished in the green, pretty cool. But that's all for that. Up top here, we've got all of the latches here for the top on the Wrangler. Pretty nice little setup. The rest you do need tools, but this part you just use all these latches. Universal garage door openers up here as well. And oh, I forgot to mention, I would recommend getting the insulation added up here. Definitely helps a lot with wind noise. Now that we're done going the interior on this Wrangler, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this sticker is for about $46,000 before any type of market adjustment. That being said, let's take this Willys Wheeler out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here in this Wrangler. So first off, visibility over the hood, just like any other Wrangler, nothing's changed there. And then you do have the visibility through both of the mirrors. And then here's all throughout the rest of the rear, a bunch of really large square windows. So visibility is really good in pretty much all of the Wranglers. And that all being said, let's set off. Well, we are initially setting off here in the Willys Wheeler edition. And first off, let's talk about the road noise and the ride quality. So from a ride quality perspective, if you're used to most modern SUVs, then it will be a little bit of a shock with the Wrangler just because it's definitely bumpier compared to a regular SUV. You definitely feel a lot more when you go over stuff. And it also just has this like small feel to it though. So it's kind of like this, like, it feels like a toy. That's the best way to describe it. It's just a small kind of like bumpy SUV, definitely different. It's super unique, like nothing else out on the market right now really drives like this. I'm sure the new Ford Bronco, when that comes out, it'll drive super similar. But with current vehicles out right now, there's just nothing else out there that's like a Wrangler. It has a very unique drive to it. Well, actually getting up and going on the road with the Wrangler now, because we had to wait a million years for traffic. Decent amount of low-end torque. Yeah, going over stuff, you definitely feel it. Like I said, if you're used to most modern SUVs, this is definitely going to be a completely different experience, completely unrefined with all of the stuff on it, just way different. And see how the brakes are coming up to this. Brakes are really good. Stopping power is definitely a strong point with the Wrangler. So, and I mean, I really appreciate that on the off-road, right? You want to be able to stop on a dime pretty much. Yeah, it's so small. The steering's really good. It's really light and effortless, but it's the directness is kind of interesting. There's a little bit of on-center vagueness, but once you get past that, then it really turns in nicely. It's just you got to get past that initial vagueness with the steering. Man, that visor is kind of small, but see how it does with the braking in. Yeah, like I said, it's really good. So I definitely appreciate the braking. So far, it's a pretty fun vehicle to drive, and now I've got to wait a little bit longer here in traffic. Well, now let's get our acceleration here at the Wrangler. Gear shifts are fantastic. So yeah, 3.6 liter V6, it isn't crazy fast, and this is, it's a smaller SUV, but it's still big enough that, you know, 285 horsepower doesn't really move it all that quick. But this 8-speed automatic does a fantastic job with the power that you do have. It really keeps it right in the power band, and the gear shifts are so quick. I mean, even downshifts, a couple downshifts right there happen pretty quick. Upshifts, boom, pretty much instantaneous. So yeah, absolutely love the transmission. That's definitely the strong point of the Wranglers compared to some other off-road SUVs. Like, you look at the Toyota 4Runner, and that 5-speed automatic is just so slow. It is mind-numbingly slow with the gear shifts, whereas this 8-speed automatic is quick, it's refined, really nice, and that'll get me into summing things up with this Willys edition. So from an exterior aesthetics perspective, I feel like this is a pretty good-looking Jeep. I actually really like the black front grille. I think it's nice to accent with the Sarge green metallic that we have on the exterior of this particular Wrangler. And then the tire setup's pretty good for off-roading, but that's where things kind of end. This doesn't really have a off-road suspension setup, just has a regular Wrangler suspension setup, which can off-road. But from me driving a Gladiator Sport on the off-road, I've kind of learned that if you don't have off-road shocks, this just drives so rough. Like, it really beats you up. And so that's the one downside of this Willys edition, is it just doesn't have off-road shocks. And I mean, for me, it's kind of like a must-have so that you get like a decent driving experience. And so that's the only downside with that. The interior, I mean, it's a Wrangler interior. It is what it is, right? But yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts. It's like they put these crazy off-road tires on it because they know that someone's going to buy this. They're never going to take it off-road, and it's kind of sad. It's just kind of like for looks. But yeah, that'd be my only thing. If you got this, definitely upgrade the shocks. Now that is going to sum things up with our video on this 2021 Jeep Wrangler Willys edition. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Provo for giving me some time with this Wrangler. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.